Hi, my name's Greg Shamatoff, and I'm on the STS-134 crew, and you're watching NASA TV.
Good morning, Endeavor, and a special good morning to you today, Greg.
Good morning, Shannon. It's great to hear your voice, and thank you so much for that song. That's a beautiful song named Luna. It's written and performed by my good friend Jose Serrano. And that song was made especially for our flight for STS-134. We're all up. We're raring to go. We had such a great day yesterday with a spectacular rendezvous and successful installation of VLC-3. And today we got the prime job for our entire mission. We're installing AMS today. That'll be really exciting, and we're also going to be getting ready to camp out overnight for EVA-1. So we got a lot of work to do today. We're all raring to go, and good morning to everyone there in Mission Control.
This is Mission Control Houston. We are continuing to receive downlink television pictures from the shuttle station complex as it orbits 214 statute miles over the Pacific Ocean on a southeasterly track that's soon going to take it over the equator and then eventually over the southern tip of South America again. The oncoming team of flight controllers, the Orbit 1 team, has completed its handover, is about to take over the duties as the outgoing Orbit 3 planning shift team departs. Gary Horlocker will be the flight director in charge of this team, taking over for off-going flight director Quatziala Barujo, who is working his final shift of the mission.
The AMS will find its permanent home today. After the crew finishes up its post-sleep activities, they'll head into the AMS activities shortly after 2 o'clock Central Time. The AMS is expected to be installed on the Earth side, or Earth-facing side of the S3 truss segment, the zenith side, if you will, somewhere about 240 or so. The split screen showing both sides of the payload bay, the right and left side, with the guide pins for the alpha magnetic spectrometer. First step will be, now that it is free of Endeavor's payload bay, to raise the AMS up to a low hover position just above the payload bay. Once that is established, after a couple of minutes, the crew will be given a go to proceed on with maneuvering it over the side of Endeavor's payload bay up toward the International Space Station for a handoff to the station's robotic arm.
Go ahead, Spanky. Hey, I just wanted to let you know that we're putting EMU LiO new battery, lithium-ion battery, 3004. That's going to go into Drew's suit, and we have LiO canister. It's 0021. That's going to go into Taz's suit. How copy? Houston, Big Loop. Yeah, go ahead. Another location to try to find that LiO canister would be the EVA systems transfer bag, and it is another mesh bag. Okay, got that, and we'll work on that, and we'll find it. In the meantime, it's been suggested that we go to a different loop. What loop would you like us to call you on, either air to ground 2 or space to ground 2?
The shuttle's robotic arm now in motion once again. The next maneuver will be to the handoff position, relocating the AMS now from the low hover position above Endeavour's payload bay to the position that will be easiest for the station's grapple, the end effector on the station's robotic arm to position itself on the alternate grapple fixture for AMS.
And Houston, cupola on the big loop. We're working some of the camera views at night. Stand by. Houston, copies.
The shuttle's robotic arm now has the brakes on. It's in the position now for the handoff. Next up will be for the station robotic arm. It's being operated by Greg Shamatoff and Greg Johnson in the at the robotic workstation inside the space station, in particular in the cupola module, repositioning the camera views to get a good look at the AMS as the station's robotic arm gets ready to maneuver over to the AMS and capture the other grapple fixture.
And Houston from cupola, we are ready to proceed now. We like our camera views. Thanks for your patience.
And Canadarm2 now being maneuvered from a robotic workstation inside the cupola on the International Space Station, being maneuvered into position to capture the alpha magnetic spectrometer, currently in the firm grasp of the shuttle's robotic arm. Canadarm2, 58-foot-long robot arm delivered to the International Space Station back in April of 2001. One of the major contributions of the Canadian Space Agency to the International Space Station program. And a very clear view of the grapple pin on the grapple fixture of the alpha magnetic spectrometer. The top of the view, the end effector of the station's robotic arm, Canadarm2. The arm is being positioned. There are cameras that look straight down the length of the Canadarm2 and on the end effector to allow for proper alignment. The arm is being operated from the cupola on the International Space Station. Inside is a dedicated robotics workstation with its own screens, allowing the crew members to see the same view that you're seeing here so that they can align properly before moving in for grapple. And in fact, the go has been given. The arm is now in the process of being maneuvered in for the grapple.
Houston Endeavor, air to ground 2. The second CWC is 1064, and I transferred 1069 to JPM A5. It just seems like an odd place to put it inside a soft stowage rack that doesn't have a lot of room. I just want you to double check and make sure that's where you want these first CWCs.
Mark, we copy your work in 1064 now, and we will double check that stowage location. Thanks.
And a good capture is confirmed. The station robotic arm now is locked onto the grapple pin of the alpha magnetic spectrometer, occurring as Endeavour in the International Space Station track to the southwest of the Canary Islands.
On the big loop, the SSRMS grapple is complete. Put the brakes on, and you guys are go for SRMS release. Endeavour copies on the big loop.
And with the AMS now firmly in the grasp of the station's robotic arm, the crew over on Space Shuttle Endeavour ready to release the shuttle's robotic arm from its grasp of the other grapple fixture. Standing by to see the indications, the ready to latch indications.
Endeavour ISS, this is Miles O'Brien with Google. How do you hear me?
Miles, we have you loud and clear. How do you hear us?
5 by 5, Commander Mark Kelly. Good to see you guys. You look hale and hearty. Congratulations on installing the alpha magnetic spectrometer. That's great news. I wanted to, before we get to the questions from folks, there wasn't a lot of time for folks on Google Moderator to weigh in on the tile damage. I'm curious what your thoughts are on what you've seen. How concerned are you about these ding tiles on the belly of the shuttle?
Yeah, so we took a look this morning at some of the photos and the message traffic that came up. There's 3 areas that, are a little bit of concern. The team on the ground will decide over the next couple days if we have to take a closer look at it. But the current damage doesn't seem, we've seen this kind of stuff before, and it's not too big of a concern for us.
Hi, Commander Kelly. I'm Spencer Kelly. but I don't think we're related. I live in Miramichi, Canada. I was wondering, after 4 times going to space, what do you look forward to most in going to space?
Hey, hi, Spencer.
Mark, I don't know. Could you hear it?
We have an honorary Canadian on board next to me. Yeah, we heard the question, Miles. After 4 times in flight,
okay,
what do I look forward to the most? Well, you know, these missions are very, very challenging and very rewarding. There's a lot to do. You know, I particularly like looking at the Earth and the small amount of chance we get, but also flying through the space station is an awful lot of fun. So you know, those 2 things are high on my list.
All right, let's go to question number 2. This one is a text question, actually a couple of questions for you, Mark. One of them comes from Watertown, New York. The first one, an observation from an old Marine to an old sailor. I don't know if you like the old part, but he's a sailor for sure. Come back safely. What's in store for our space program remains to be seen. It will be exciting, but not as exciting as seeing Gabby back on her feet at full throttle. And then this one from St. Mary's, Ohio. This one is, he says, Mr. Gifford, is it difficult leaving your wife even though she's doing well? I think she would want to be where you are now. God bless you and your wife and the whole crew. And, Mark, I'll just button it up with, I know Gabby had surgery yesterday. I assume you've had some updates. How are things going?
Well, I had the chance at the end of the day to call her mom and her chief of staff and my brother periodically through as the surgery was going on, and she's doing really well. Everything went as planned. Her neurosurgeons are very happy. She's recuperating, and she's actually getting back to therapy today. So it went really, really well.
Yeah, I think it was about 20 seconds after launch you guys disappeared. I tell you what, pass the mic over to Ron Guerin. Ron, who is a space station keeper and has spent a little bit of time up there. You tweeted a photo of the Mississippi River the other day, and NASA has been sending images as well. What's it like to see the devastation of that flooding from space?
Well, Miles, that's an interesting question because, you know, we do have this sense of isolation being up here, living off the planet. But at the same time, you know, even though we have this sense of isolation, we have the ability to be more connected with things on the ground because we fly over it all the time. So, you know, watching, the Mississippi River flooding on the news and then flying over it are 2 different things. And seeing with our own eyes the devastation and the tragedy that's going on in that area of the country, is really something. And we feel a responsibility to try and document that as best we can as time allows and take as many pictures of that area as we can.
The hardest thing about being in space?
Hello from the International Space Station. Got your question. And Callie and Anderson, my favorite thing about being in space is flying. And yesterday we opened up the hatch to the International Space Station, and I could really stretch my legs and fly from one end to the other. And we have a beautiful space station. I also really like looking at our beautiful planet. It's the most beautiful planet in the whole solar system.
Drew Feustel, this one from the Grinning Man from YouTube. The question is, how realistic is Obama's promise to visit the planet Mars by 2030? Do you believe it is possible to do it sooner?
Hey, hi Miles, how you doing? Thanks for the question. And it's sort of a bigger question, I think, to answer is, what direction we're going. And I think we're all, as space explorers, interested in eventually getting onto Mars and also visiting the moon, since that's our nearest neighbor. In my vision, can we do it sooner? I think we can, and hopefully with the progress we're making with the commercial launch vehicles and what NASA's doing for heavy lift, and with the intent, as long as we have the intent to make it onto to Mars eventually, we will get there. As humans, I don't think we'll ever stop exploring, and we're all excited to be a part of the great adventure, and really all starting right here on the International Space Station.
At what point during the mission does it sink in that you are one of the only few people on Earth to have been able to see Earth from space?
Yeah, as a point of order, both Taz and I were not. We were not AWOL. We were actually just finishing up with the AMS install. But to answer your question, I think that any mode of transportation like cars and airplanes progress along. And in space, there's been almost 500 people that have looked at the Earth from space. And I think in a few decades, there will be many multitudes of more people that get to see the Earth from space. But I can tell you it's a great honor, and I cherish every moment.
Yeah. I just want to say a few words to you and to your crew. And thank you very much for the great ride and safe delivery of AMS to the station. Your support and fantastic work has taken us one step closer to realizing the science potential of AMS.
Well, thank you, Sam. I was just looking out the window of the orbiter, and AMS looks absolutely fantastic on the truss. I know you guys are really excited, and you're probably getting data and looking at it already. I'm going to turn the mic over to Box and Taz and let them make a couple comments about how that all went.
We have been waiting for this day a long time, and me and Drew Feustel this morning very early start to prepare. Everything went very smoothly. The robotic arm performed perfectly, and within the time that we were given, we were ready to hand it off to Box and Taz.
That would be great. You know, and ever since the first time that we met you at CERN and your team, you know, it's really been an honor for all of us to be part of this project. You know, ours is a very, very small part, you know, but you know, we're very, very happy to see this day come true. You know, now AMS is installed. It's on the station. It's going to stay here for the life of the station, and we're really excited to see what kind of results, you know, and what we can learn, what you guys can learn and teach us from having AMS up here. You know, and it's you and us talking, but, you know, there's so many people who've been involved in planning the operation specifically, as we did today, the robotics and the installation, the mechanisms, and then your whole team who's been working tirelessly for so many years to get AMS ready to go. So we're really happy to be at this point, and thanks for sharing the whole adventure with us.
Excellent. We're happy to hear both of those things. Thanks so much.
Spacewalkers for tomorrow inside the Quest airlock. Greg Shamatov here in the black, working with the water holder that the crew uses to allow them to have something to drink during the 6.5-hour long spacewalks outside. And in the red at the bottom of the screen, Drew Feustel, the other spacewalker. Feustel is actually the lead spacewalker for the mission. Is going to be wearing the spacesuit that has a solid red stripe on it, while Shamatov will be wearing an all-white spacesuit.
Katie Coleman, Scott Simon, how are you?
I am great. It's nice to hear your voice in this way. I listen to NPR up here. They send it up every day to me.
Oh, thank you. Tell us about the mission. You've got some awfully expensive equipment on board.
Well, yes, Scott, we just installed the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer. It's a $2 billion cosmic particle detector, really a premier physics experiment that's supported by 16 different countries, 600 physicists. I mean, it's pretty big project. It's managed out in CERN, Switzerland. They've been working on this thing, a lot of people, for a long time. And today, with the help of Roberto Vittori, Drew Feustel, Greg Chamatov, and Greg Johnson, we got it successfully installed on the space station. It's a great day for science.
Well, I don't know where the time goes, but I'll tell you, it's a very busy place. We've got like 130 different experiments running almost at the same time, some of them, up here on the space station, and then maintaining the space station and also maintaining ourselves and doing some medical work, some medical experiments. Just to maintain your bone mass, you need to exercise about 2 hours a day up here. So I would say every day is a busy day and a great day up here.
this might well be your last ride in space. I wonder what your thoughts are as you look down on our Earth.
You know, the Earth's an incredibly beautiful planet. It's you know, it's hard to understand sometimes all the conflict in such a beautiful place. You know, it is it's possible that this is my last flight. You know, this is a really hard thing to give up. It's very exciting to, and it's be frank, it's a big privilege for all of us to have the opportunity to serve our countries in this way. So it's a tough thing. You know, but to answer your question, Scott, you know, just looking down, we've got a very fragile and beautiful place to live, and we need to take care of it.
Good, thank you. How hard is it going to be for the remaining station crew members to keep the outpost going, particularly with the shuttle crew aboard as guests?
Well, you know, this shuttle crew, it's like, you know, there's guests that are just not guests. Two of them have flown before on station, and all of them just have a really great attitude about working together. And I think that makes it a lot easier for the three folks that will remain, Ron and Sasha and Andre. And so, you know, it is more work. And actually, Paolo and I, if you took our vote, we would stay and make sure that we saw them off and then go back home. But this is just the way the vehicles line up. And Ron's been here for a while, and he knows the ropes. And it's, you know, I think it just turns into a bunch of people working together, making the best of it, and it'll be fine.
Thanks. How important are these last EVAs by shuttle crew members for ISS operations after the shuttle's retired?
Well, we've got a number of tasks over 4 EVAs. We've got on each EVA, as you probably know, we've got 2 spacewalking crew members outside for about 6 to 6.5 hours, getting the space station in a good configuration to proceed without the availability of the space shuttle. We're going to fly STS-135 in June, hopefully. That's the current, or July rather, and then after that, there won't be any shuttle-based EVAs, but we have an airlock. We'll be going out the station airlock here tomorrow. Space station crew members are all trained to do EVA, and we'll probably see some station EVAs in the future, but we're just, with our 4 EVAs this week and next week, we're trying to get the station in a really good config.
Thanks. I'm told we're out of time. Good luck with the rest of the mission, and safe landing, Katie.
Thanks very much.